I'm Adam Yenser, and I once did stand-up with Kato Kalin.
I'm Ethan Nicolle, and I once poured urine in my ear canal. Yeah. We're going to take those stories, and if you actually want to know the background of those, we're going to tell them to people in the subscriber portion, if you're a subscriber, so.
You know we want people to listen to that portion, right?
Yeah. No, it's Kato, you're really going to reel in with that Kato Kalin.
Pouring urine in your ear?
It wasn't my urine.
Oh,
that makes it worse.
That makes it worse. I have no idea.
Technically, I didn't pour it in. It was poured. It's this whole story.
Well, you got to subscribe now to find out.
The truth.
And then regret it and unsubscribe.
I didn't write that. Somebody wrote that in there for me.
Somebody knows this story about you?
I guess so. They've heard me on other podcasts tell the story. I thought you did it.
It's your big story.
It's a big
anyway, in this very special episode.
Third episode.
Special third episode.
Podcast is now on iTunes, Spotify, etc. So go subscribe, review, please. We need reviews because we need people. We need iTunes or whatever it's called now, Apple Podcasts, to let people know.
Do they have to be good reviews?
Best if it's good reviews, yeah.
But any review will do. You can.
Sure, but no, just go for good. Just go for it, just to be safe. Yeah, review, subscribe, share. We got to do more of that.
Nice.
Yeah, so here we are, third episode.
Going strong so far.
We're gonna hit our stride here.
Yeah.
Feel it. All right.
Steadily growing.
Ready to get to our top stories?
Let's dive in.
Look who's all uppity with the ticky talky down ditty. This is the Talk Down.
Outrage after China zoo paints dogs to look like pandas. A zoo in China has come under fire after the authorities painted 2 dogs black and white to resemble pandas at the Taizhou Zoo in Jiangsu province. Visitors were shocked to discover that the animals they saw in the panda enclosure were chow chow dogs. So, yeah, they actually literally painted chow chows, which are normally like an orange color, right?
I think so, yeah.
And I guess they bleach them. I don't know how they got them to be pure white, unless maybe there's like albino ones.
I doubt they were albino.
Or white ones. I don't know. Maybe. But anyway, they painted them or dyed them, and people are freaking out about it. I figure you just have to respect their culture because the Chinese are really into cosplay.
That's true. And trans pandas are pandas, so you can't deny that they really are pandas.
I don't really like to pander.
I can't tell.
I don't like to pander to that kind of thinking.
I can't tell. Were people mad that they were trying to pass them off as pandas, or were they mad that they painted dogs and paint is bad for dogs?
I think it seemed like, it seemed like a lot of the comments were like, that kind of dye is bad for dogs. Yeah. They lick their fur and it's gross. It's bad for them. Humans may dye their hair, but they don't lick their hair.
Yeah. I was just glad they're not eating them, because when I see China dogs in a headline, that's where that's my first concern.
That's because you're a deeply racist man.
Well, you know, I used to think that was a racist thing to say, and then there was these stories recently about how South Korea is elsewhere in Asia, but they banned the eating of dogs.
No, they absolutely eat all kinds.
So they did eat dogs.
True, yeah. I like what some people are saying here. I didn't want to steal this guy's jokes when I give him credit. Jeff McClure Jr. said, "When you order a panda from Temu,
I don't know what that is.
That's that like is it Chinese Amazon?
Oh,
where they sell all this tons of stuff and it's always like really bad.
Oh, like
it's super cheap versions? And it's knockoff bad. Yeah,
I see.
Though women at the scene unanimously felt relief that the chow chows had been painted to resemble a kind of bear and not a strange man. Thank God. You imagine the horror.
I feel like this happens frequently. I've seen other stories where Chinese zoos have tried to fake animals.
Right. I want to point out, to be fair, the flyer that they put out did also have a mermaid on it. You can see there where they circled the panda, but you look behind the outline or the weird little marking, there's definitely a mermaid in the background. So yeah, we'll get to some examples of other animals, fake animals, but the spokesperson at the zoo said there are no panda bears at the zoo, and we wanted to do this as a result. He's just really defensive. He's like, we had to do something.
We couldn't just not have pandas.
Right. It feels like a sitcom.
And they're in China. Isn't that where pandas are from? You feel like they could go outside and get some.
Right. In Australia, and they had to paint up some
fake
ferrets to look like kangaroos or something.
Yeah.
Can you just go outside and bonk one on the head? People also dye their hair, the guy says. Duh. So natural dye can be used on dogs if they have long fur. Like, what's the big deal? So anyway, that was their defense. The zoo staff did get rid of the dogs, but hopefully Christine Ohm wasn't involved. So anyway, let's look at other times that our beloved country, China, has used fake animals to try to convince, or not fake, they're real animals, but to pass them off as more expensive, rare, exotic animals. A zoo in the Henan province came under fire for attempting to pass off a Tibetan Mastiff dog as an African lion. The lion started barking, and then everyone was like, that's not a lion.
They didn't know beforehand. I feel like I could tell.
I saw it. If you look at the photo, that's clearly a dog.
Yeah.
But no, maybe it's because you're up in a big coliseum and you see it way down there doing stunts or something. I don't know.
It's in a coliseum.
I don't know. You know, like the big dog, you know, where the stunt like Waterworld.
They're painting a dog as a lion and then having it fight Christians in a coliseum.
In the picture, it looks like a guy's like the lion tamer. I think you're watching the show, you know. I don't know. It's in the distance. In Sichuan, a zoo reportedly dyed dogs to resemble wolves and made them look like kind of not as doggish dogs. I don't know how people could tell. Like, those aren't wolves. Wolves don't act like that. It's just normal dogs.
Wolves don't roll over and fetch when you tell them to.
Yeah. I feel like if you trained them to, they would.
Yeah.
2015, Jiufeng Zoo replaced a sun bear with a man in a bear suit.
Oh, I remember this story.
Yeah. Though I was looking at photos
I feel like there was one more recent than this. This one's 2015.
That's a long time ago.
I feel like there was one that was relatively within the last 2 years or so.
Okay. Well,
they said it was standing and waving to people.
Yeah, I got the picture. The picture's the one standing and waving. Though it looks real. And I don't know.
There was a big debate over whether it was actually a sun bear or whether it was a man in a.
According to ChatGPT, it was real or not real.
Then you see it like just standing with its hand on its hip, smoking a cigarette off to the side,
stretching its qualities.
Yeah.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, a zoo in Yunnan province displayed inflatable penguins in an empty penguin enclosure. I'm guessing that they discovered this when one popped in a polar bear's mouth. And there's a couple that not just China is guilty of this. So not only China. In 2018, a zoo in Cairo, Egypt painted black stripes on donkeys to make them look like zebras. Everybody started to notice and the paint started smudging. Classic. And in Argentina, this is my favorite because I feel sorry for the people that fell for this. Unscrupulous pet sellers have been known to pump up ferrets and even rats with steroids, then groom them to look like miniature poodles. Buyers were shocked when the animals started behaving unlike typical dogs. So are these
that sounds. Now I want to see that.
Yeah, there's a picture that I posted. It just looks like a really fluffy
I would almost rather have a steroid raging ferret.
Yeah, like a roided out poodle. Ferret with a poodle hair. I'm curious to see. It's a unique pet.
Well, China may be guilty of dyeing chow chows, but at least they didn't crush them in a hydraulic press. Apple's new iPad commercial has provoked outrage. People are calling it the destruction of the human experience. Apple CEO Tim Cook was lambasted for greenlighting an ad for the company's revamped iPad that showed instruments such as a piano, a guitar, and a trumpet crushed by a giant hydraulic press. The 60-second spot titled Crush also included items such as an arcade game, turntable, and even a sculpted bust getting slowly compacted, all set to Sonny and Cher's All I Ever Need Is You to tout the slimness of its upgraded iPad Pro. I've seen the commercial. It didn't bother me that much. I don't really understand the outrage.
I feel like it's kind of a common thing you see there is things being crushed by hydraulic press.
Yeah, there's all these viral videos of different stuff. It always pops up on Facebook Reels for me.
Because it just starts to get crushed. You're like, I gotta click.
You gotta watch it. And sometimes it's satisfying, and sometimes it's completely disappointing.
Yeah, it goes
why did I watch that?
You thought it would.
But the ad for the iPad, it says, "Meet the new iPad Pro, the thinnest product we've ever created, the most advanced display we've ever produced, with the incredible power of the M4 chip."
Oh,
just imagine all the things it'll be used to create. It was a tweet from Tim Cook alongside the video.
Mm. Now, I don't know if people know that this is actually how a lot of technology gets made.
They just smash it together and press like that?
Whatever. It's like, how do you think you get all those movies on Netflix? You got to just... That's where all the DVDs went. You just crush them down together and then Netflix inserts it. And it's just kind of like, it's complicated, but Amazon, you don't even want to see the size of their hydraulic press. It's huge. Crazy. And AI, just pile of human brains, hydraulic press.
They smash it into a computer chip.
Yeah. And then, the craziest one is for emojis. Most people don't know this. They just use them frivolously. For every emoji you use, they have to take a human who is genuinely having that emotional state, crush them in a hydraulic press, make an emoji. So
I didn't really, like I said, I don't understand the outrage though. Social media users saw this and they turned apoplectic. They called the ad tone deaf for its lack of respect for the creative process and arguing it was another sign of big tech's desire to take over society. I worry about AI and technology and stuff like that. I thought it was just showing this is all the stuff that's crammed
You're kind of
inside.
a big baby about that a lot. Actually.
I'm not a baby about it. I just don't think we should use AI. And you're a traitor to artists because you use AI. But
I'm just lazy.
And then artists lose their job because of it. But this ad, it's like, I don't know. It didn't show anything that like the dark side of things people use technology for. There was no like political propaganda or porno magazines being just crushed down.
The main thing that
into the iPad.
People watching reruns of Breaking Bad.
And I still don't understand how there's a trumpet inside it. Like where do you blow on the iPad?
Right. No blowing needed now.
Yeah.
It blows for you. So I don't know. They said that Tim Cook was really criticized for greenlighting this ad. So I wonder what other ads he may have been trying if he was going with the theme of meme sorts of videos.
The viral video theme?
Viral videos that like make you want to click and watch them, like the Red Hot Copper Ball.
Oh, I see those all the time.
You know that?
That always pops up too. They put
it through.
They'll put it in different liquids or hand gel. I saw one in mouthwash. They put one in popcorn, but then it didn't pop the corn. Some of them are just
I saw it's really disappointing.
Nothing
the popcorn
happened.
was really disappointing.
Yeah.
So they could just drop that through like, I don't know, original manuscripts of great classic novels like Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
Don't need that now because we have iPads. Those games where like an overhead, it shows a guy walking down the street and they're shooting a bunch, like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And then there's like a thing that says you can add 2 guys or you can add 700 guys over here. And the guy's like thinking about it. And then they go for 2 and you're watching, you're like, no, go for the 700, you idiot. And you want to do it for him. I think Apple should have gone with an ad like that because those are pretty effective, even though
they do get you to keep watching.
You can't. They're
miserably stupid, but they suck you in.
Maybe next time you'll pick the better gun, and then you finally like, idiot. You click on it, you download the app, and then the game's nothing like that.
And get this. This is another quote about someone who was mad at the Apple commercial. The destruction of the human experience, courtesy of Silicon Valley, from actor Hugh Grant.
You didn't do his voice.
Hugh Grant is, I can't do voices. That's your thing.
Human experience. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little dramatic. I guess he is Hugh Grant.
Yeah. But that's who I always turn to for my tech opinions on tech news.
I don't know. I mean, they're all still going to buy it. I mean, I think, like, yes, the initial response to the commercial is, holy crap, they smashed all that precious stuff. But then the response after that is, wow, that's pretty thin.
People are like, I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah. And I think Apple is fair to say, if you guys can't stomach the process of how we make our iPads, then you deserve fat ass iPads.
Just you get one of those old iMacs.
Yeah, it's the big old bare bellied iPads that don't work out. They're all fat. That was my tip. Well, speaking of apples, those things that worms like to live inside of. Well, here's something else a worm lives inside of. RFK Jr., which I actually know, Robert
F. Kennedy Jr.
F. Kennedy Jr. says doctors found a dead worm in his brain. Holy cow. In 2010, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was experiencing memory loss. This is actually kind of an old story, but it came back.
He brought it up himself again.
Yeah, he brought it back. Mental fogginess he was experiencing, so severe that a friend grew concerned that he might have a brain tumor. While he was packing for a trip, he received a call from a doctor at New York Presbyterian Hospital who had a strange opinion, which I'm assuming he had some data or something. It's weird if he's got a call from a random doctor. Mr. Kennedy, he believed, had a dead parasite in his head. The doctor believed that the abnormality that he saw in his scans was caused by a worm that got into his brain and ate a portion of it and then died.
Hopefully it didn't eat anything important.
A tragic death. Yeah, this memory of something.
It ate the part that understands how vaccines work.
Yeah, or like having some amount of moderation on abortion.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, one tip off that he might have had a worm in his head was he started taking all these crazy pro-worm political stances. Like he started an environmental advocacy group centered on giving worms more and more rights with hashtag believe all worms.
Uh-huh.
People are like, what is he talking about, this guy? And then he's like, he said abortion should be legal up to birth, even outside the womb, which is pretty crazy. Like, it's a thing to say, and being a conservative, right wing, I'm trying to get a Republican slot, and then he's like, hey, why don't you just feed him to the worms? Worms love eating a good baby now and then.
Ugh.
Sorry. I'm just
like
reporting the news.
Just reporting the jokes you wrote beforehand.
No, it's just yeah, you already know what I'm going to say. This also explains why RFK recently went to Boston Dynamics and started proposing a tiny little leg suit for worms so they can get around easier and have cool lasers.
In your world, this worm is like, it's a parasite that's control.
Yeah, I get it.
We're electing, if we elect him, we're going to elect worm president.
Yeah.
That will be all
Suddenly,
these worm policies.
there's going to be all these Apple wonderlands that they can slide around in, and who knows what else they're going to get to do when the worms take over. I don't think he's going to win, though.
I don't understand. Like you said, so this event happened to him in 2010 when the doctor found this, and he put it in the news again. It was in some interview where he said that a worm ate part of his brain.
Right.
I feel like the other candidates are all trying to deflect rumors about their health, like Trump and Biden. They'll be like, no, we're not senile. No, we're still healthy and strong. And RFK Jr. is like, hey, you guys know a worm ate part of my brain? Why not just let it go? Nobody ever would have known.
I think it's pretty clear that
a worm ate part of his brain.
Right. It's pretty clear Biden doesn't have brain worms, though.
No.
He has more like brain ferrets.
Yeah, he's on the way out.
This stuff's wriggling around in there. But yeah, I agree with that.
And now Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's having some fun with it on X, formerly known as Twitter. He wrote, I offer to eat 5 more brain worms and still beat President Trump and President Biden in a debate. I feel confident of the result, even with a 6-worm handicap.
I think he should just replace the debate with a worm eating contest. Let's just keep going.
Can you do his voice? He has that voice of modulation.
I can't. I don't. I'm not that familiar with.
Oh,
him.
really?
Does he just talk like?
I don't know if it's no. I don't know if it's insulting to do. I don't mean as an insult, but he talks like this. It's strained.
Oh,
it's strained when he talks. He has this disorder where he can't modulate the sound of his voice exactly.
Yeah, I know it's obvious from the show, but I actually don't follow politics that much. I don't know if I've ever seen him on video.
Yeah.
It's that sad. I'm sorry to admit.
You gotta get informed. He's one of our 3 choices.
Yeah, he's a third choice. Third choice never wins, right?
No, but he's running for the brainworm ticket this
brainworm
time,
ticket.
So it's definitely a strategy no one's tried before.
Yeah. Yeah, he could do. You ever see those old videos that used to be on the internet when like YouTube, like creepy videos first came out, and they'd lay out a piece of pork and they'd pour Coca-Cola on it, and all of a sudden all these worms would come out of it.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's real, but I was horrified, and I thought, man, I'm never eating pork again for like 5 minutes, and I kept eating pork. But yeah, maybe that worked for him. He just like bathe in Coke.
Yeah,
and then take a
and then it lures. So the Coke lures the worms out.
Yeah, they come out like Coke. It's supposed to make you think, oh, Coke's so bad it scares the worms away. So anyway, well, he may have eaten 5 brain worms, but would he let Roseanne Barr force feed him a hamburger? Richard Simmons claims Roseanne Barr tried to force feed him on her talk show. The fitness guru, you guys know Richard Simmons, right? Huge national treasure.
Yeah.
He on X, he shared several stories from when he was a guest on shows hosted by people like Martha Stewart, Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne Barr, Wendy Williams. Sounds horrible. When we were talking, I noticed something in the table. I can't do it more. Richard Simmons.
That was pretty close. It's a very...
When we were talking, I noticed something in the table between us. It was a hamburger with everything in it. Simmons wrote. Oh, he wrote. He didn't talk. Simmons alleged. Roseanne asked me, Richard, you can't always eat healthy. She got up and tried to force... Oh, he's still talking. She got up and tried... Oh, that was him. He was quoting her. Richard, you can't always... I can't...
So this is now your impression of Richard Simmons doing Roseanne Barr.
Richard, you can't always eat healthy. She got up and tried to force feed me the hamburger, pushing it in my mouth. I was not amused. My brain has a worm in it. I
You're going
snapped.
in and out of all the voices.
I grabbed the hamburger and shoved it in her mouth and walked off the stage. This is something I was not proud of.
And then Hugh Grant showed up.
This is the degradation of the human species. This is all in him talking. She screamed and yelled at me when I was leaving the stage. Her executive producer, Jeff Wald, thanks for telling us the name, told me she was going to sue me, and I told him I will sue her first.
What are they going to sue about? Nothing in that interaction. It sounds awkward, but I don't understand what you'd sue about.
Well, you know, like there are comedians like Andy Kaufman who like their whole thing is their comedy is based on the reaction that they get from the audience. Like they make the audience an unwilling participant in the joke. And I think that I respect Roseanne more than ever as a comedian here because she actually got Richard Simmons, the guy who like has fat people crying on him to lose weight and like
that's a good description of what he does. That was his whole career was getting fat ladies.
And he got Roseanne Barr, famous fat woman, famously a fat lady, to get him to shove a hamburger into her mouth.
I think that was her ploy all along.
That's an own.
She knew that if she tried to force feed it him, somehow she would wind up with the food in the end.
So that's why he's going to sue her. He could destroy his career. You get a video. I mean, in the days of the internet, you get like a meme of him shoving a hamburger into her fat face.
I would watch that.
I know I'm fat too.
If there was a show where it was just Roseanne Barr trying to force feed celebrities, I'd watch that show.
Get over here.
I feel like that'd be a great TV show.
Depends on the celebrities. For
and
some,
they could make Facebook reels where you just see her start to shove it at them, and then it's like, well, I have to watch the whole video now and see if she gets it in there.
I mean, I think there's some celebrities where it wouldn't go as if they're not combative enough. Like
no, some of these others, like Rosie O'Donnell, I feel like she'd be very receptive of the hamburger.
that'd be boring.
Yeah,
Roseanne feeds Rosie O'Donnell burgers. That's like a really bad version of Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
I was watching this series. It's called Dark Side of Comedy. I think it was on Vice a few years ago, but it's on Hulu now, and you can binge it. And they're all these. They're kind of just little mini documentaries. Each episode's about a different comedian. There's one about Greg Giraldo. There's one about Chris Farley. There's one about Phil Hartman. And there's an episode about Roseanne. And they're interesting, but all the other comedians, the dark side is they're like suicidal or they're alcoholics or they die early. Roseanne is only in there because they presented it as dark that she became a Trump supporter. It's just the whole darkness is that she's kind of a conspiracy theorist now, which is like, you don't have to agree with her, but I don't consider her to be a dark, tragic tale of stand-up comedy. But that was before I knew she tried to force feed Richard Simmons.
True, that's pretty messed up.
They left that part out.
Well, let's do some bear news because we talked about bears a lot last week.
Yeah. Because there was the whole, would a woman rather run into a man or a bear?
Women unanimously agree.
Yeah.
If they are in the middle of the woods, they'd rather run into a bear than a strange man.
So this is bear news, or thank God it wasn't a strange man news.
Exactly.
A mama bear attacks driver head-on, smashes truck windshield. There's a vehicle, it was damaged after the mama bear jumped in front of it in a Japanese forest.
We do have video of this. Let's take a watch. Wow, that was crazy.
That was insane.
That bear just went for that windshield wiper.
The men reported seeing the brown bear, thought to be a female, and its cub on each side of the road. So the cubs were on each side of the road. In recently released dash cam footage, the men are seen driving down the road as the bear jumps out of the woods and immediately begins running towards the truck. Within seconds, the bear arrived at the truck's windshield and hit its wiper. After giving it one strike, the wiper is seen dangling off the window.
Now, on the video, you can actually hear the audio is a little bit bad. You can actually hear the driver shout in Japanese, "Kamishimaman ni kansha desu. Kore o kokomatte mushanuru otoko dewa nakara," which translates roughly to, "Thank God this was a bear, not a strange man jumping on my windshield."
Isn't this why Shane Gillis lost his job at SNL? Because he did an Asian accent on this podcast
No, he said
years before.
He used slurs. Like he said, like,
what did he say?
He said the word
no,
for
I'm
Mexican.
just going to try to trick you into saying
I don't think I've ever.
I thought he did the accent too.
Oh, did he?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Japanese.
No.
I feel like it's more disrespectful to not even attempt to pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Isn't that okay?
Because news reporters always do the thing where when
Obama
they say,
used to do that with Taliban. He would say it
Yes.
try to say it to respect them.
Uh-huh.
The Taliban.
Or like
you gotta
when
really
people
show
are
respect.
when people are at Mexican restaurants, they're like, "Oh, the enchiladas."
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lady at my church who was it took me so long to figure out what she's talking about. Because every time she'd say where she was a missionary, she'd be like, I was a missionary in like she really went into and it was Guyana.
Oh,
Guyana.
okay.
Guyana. No, it's Paraguay.
Oh. So I was going to say, if she was going to
Yeah, 'cause she
Guyana,
said
she failed. They all drank the Kool-Aid.
Paraguay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Other bear-related news. Hangry bear gobbles up ducklings at the zoo in front of horrified children. Quote, that was not nice. I think I was a kid saying that.
I think it's the mom in the video. The
Okay.
kids are shrieking, and the mom is yelling, "Juniper, don't! Juniper, stop! That was
She's
not nice."
Yelling at the bear?
As the bear is tearing ducklings apart
Just chewing
in the
them up.
water. And the reason I know this, I showed this video on the Canceled News, my other YouTube show last week. And I got several complaints and lost several subscribers because I showed the video of the bear eating ducklings.
So we should put a
People are
black
very
square over it. or
Yeah,
something?
I think it's kind of gruesome, but I also
Yeah.
think in the sick way, in the dark side of comedy, it's kind of funny. And
You're gonna get your own vice special.
and it's gruesome, but it's like the circle of
nature.
life, you know.
Yeah.
It's bear's main source of nutrients is ducklings.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
That was from Rango. Yeah, I think, well, that's not the only thing the mom said, obviously. Because she also said, thank God, this is a bear eating ducklings in front of my children instead of a strange man.
That one I'm on
Kind of
the
agree.
women's side. It would be very weird to see a strange man eating ducklings in front of your children.
Like Ozzy
That's
Osbourne.
that's maybe the most horrifying one yet. There's just a man eating ducklings in front of your kids.
What other one? That was good. But yes, I don't know.
And then it's sad because the video went pretty viral. One viewer said that poor mama duck, because the mother duck is right there just watching her ducklings get
yeah, that's
off
sad. I
one
feel
by
bad for the
one.
mama duck.
Yeah.
I feel like mama ducks know that nature is red in tooth and claw.
Yeah.
You know?
Is that an
Probably just
expression?
quack.
Red in tooth and
Yeah, that's like
claw?
famous old. I can't remember who said it.
Huh.
Comment
I
section.
never heard that one before.
Nature is red in tooth and claw. But yeah, it's
Maybe it was.
famous,
I think it was.
famous.
I think it was Hugh Grant. It was Hugh Grant who posted that on his X.
Apple is red in tooth and claw. And I'm looking it up now because I have to get it. Red in tooth and claw. Oh gosh, it's not saying where it came from. It gets from a thing.
I believe you.
Comment section. You guys got me. Got my back. We need we need to tell comments people to say stuff more often. How do you feel about ducks getting eaten? Would you rather see a strange man eat ducks or a bear?
And,
All
go,
right.
and go subscribe to Canceled News because I lost people because they watched the
Yeah.
ducks die.
You need thicker skinned viewers over there. Well, seeing a bear eat ducklings, you were going to take it and I got
No,
it.
you go for it.
Seeing a bear eat ducklings may be disturbing.
Going into the transitions is red in tooth and claw. You have to fight for it like wild animals.
Yeah, there's no rules. It's the jungle law. Seeing a bear eat ducklings may be disturbing, but how about seeing a cruise ship take out a whale? Sounds cool.
Wow. A cruise ship drags dead whale into New York, prompting investigation. As a
Get the
cruise ship,
investigators.
yeah. As a cruise ship approached New York on Saturday, it was found to be carrying a grim and unexpected catch.
Was it a strange man?
The carcass of a 44-foot-long endangered whale
Oh, thank God.
draped across its bow. I like how they say it's endangered. It's already dead.
Yeah.
It's in the danger.
It's danger.
The danger has come and the danger has won.
Yeah.
But it says
Post-dangered.
it says the cruise ship, they weren't aware that they hit the whale. How do you hit the biggest animal on earth and not know? That's not like running over, I don't know, a sardine. What else would you hit in the ocean?
I'm sure cruise ships, because of their size,
Yeah.
murder many, many, many different animals.
Yeah.
As they plow through the ocean.
When I was doing stand up on the cruise ship a few weeks ago, they actually announced, the captain came on, that they slow down. There's a speed limit in the ocean if you're in the area where the whales are.
Okay.
So you have to slow down. But this one, it says the whale, which marine authorities described as a sea whale, SEI, sea or say whale,
See?
say whale, is known for its rapid swimming, Clearly not rapid enough.
Right.
And preference for deep waters. Clearly not deep enough.
Right.
It got hit by a cruise ship.
More like
Far from the coast. Its body was discovered as the ship neared the Brooklyn cruise terminal, and the authorities were immediately notified, said MSC Cruises, which owns the ship.
Oh, man.
Hmm.
So this sea whale sounds more like a didn't see it coming whale.
Indeed.
You ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Cruise ships are red in tooth and claw.
So you saw a lot of whales when you were on that cruise ship, huh?
I did, but mostly at the buffet.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Good one.
A lot of large old people on those.
Oh, that's what you
those
mean?
cruise ships. Yeah.
Okay.
We saw some whales jumping in the
Literal.
water too.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool. So maybe that's where it happens
Yeah. I don't think we hit any, but apparently you can hit them and not know
and not
it,
have
so-
no idea.
It says marine authorities said that they had towed the animal estimated to weigh some 50,000 pounds from the bow and transferred it by boat to a beach in Sandy Hook, New Jersey, where they conducted a necropsy on Tuesday. The investigation is continuing, but preliminary results: broken bones in the whale's right flipper, tissue trauma along its shoulder blade, a full stomach, and a decent layer of blubber all pointed to the animal having been in otherwise good health when it was likely struck and killed by the cruise ship. I like how there's this big investigation.
Yeah.
What are they investigating? Like, that was it murder?
Yeah. Was
They're
it,
asking people, did the captain argue with the whale before?
or was it like, did it already have like a needle in its arm or something?
Oh,
Like,
geez.
you know,
This
maybe
is
it
dark
already-
side of whales.
Dark
Had
side
a
of
deep
whale.
drug problem.
You made a note here called Nantucket Sleigh
So
Ride,
this
and
is
I
a
really want
thing.
to know what that
This
is.
is the thing I'm obsessed with. When I was younger, I went to this museum in Pennsylvania, and they had all sorts of weird New England artifacts and stuff like that. And they had an old whaling rowboat. They would take out a little rowboat to go whaling. And this phrase always stuck in my head. They said once they would spear the whale, sometimes it would drag them around the harbor for hours as it died, and they would call it the Nantucket Sleigh Ride. And so I always think whenever I'm in water and they say there's whales around, I always go, I hope we don't wind up going for the Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
That sounds like some gross, like sexual term, like Cleveland steamer or something. I took her for the old Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The Nantucket Sleigh Ride is when you pour urine in your ear as a sexual fetish,
we'll get to that.
unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of people were really upset by the news of this whale. You could say there's a lot of blubbering going on. However, the old-timey lantern community was actually really grateful for all the free the shipment of high-quality blubber that came in.
I like this barely perceptible pause that I hear as you contemplate saying your own joke.
I know, I stopped. I didn't realize that I was setting myself for my next stupid joke
There's
that I wasn't
always-
sure if I was going to
There's
say.
always a little where you
I
consider
got to
whether-
commit now.
Yeah.
Because you're just sitting there staring.
Yeah. The Coast Guard is going to start putting up whale crossing signs at random spots in the ocean to prevent more accidents.
Perfect.
I took that one.
Thank you.
Well, Jonah lived in a whale, but how about living in a grocery store sign?
Good question.
A woman found living in Michigan grocery store sign complete with computer and Keurig for months. A woman was found living in the rooftop sign of a family fare grocery store in Michigan and had been there for about a year, police said. The woman had flooring, a computer, a desk, a printer, a Keurig, and a pantry of food in the space, which was 10 to 15 feet long, 5 feet wide, and approximately 8 feet tall at its highest point, according to the Midland Police Department.
It's not bad space. That'd be like $7K a month. And
She has a computer, a desk, a printer, and a coffee machine. It sounds like she's
Food
hard at work
space.
in there. She's printing resumes, I hope.
Yeah, then I guess I don't know where you shower, but you can just go off the side of the roof, probably into the bushes.
Yeah.
I don't know how it
So
works for
there's that.
ladies, but yeah, I'm sure the roof has an angle to it, so you can just let gravity. Yeah, I lived in an attic actually above a garage. And
You did?
It was way smaller than this.
I lived in a tiny apartment in New York. It was 7 feet by 10 feet. So there's
Wow.
just enough room for a twin bed. And then there was a closet built into the wall.
It's like the size of a lot of TVs
and
now.
it had sliding doors. So it was like living in a closet with just enough room for a bed.
Hmm.
But those were some of the best times of my life.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fighting for it, man.
Yeah.
She said she had signed a lease actually, but further inquiry revealed that she had leased a sign.
You did it.
Yeah.
The police said we made contact with her and she was advised she was not allowed to live there.
You're not allowed to live here.
It says Brendan Warren, a spokesperson for the Midland Police Department. She was formally trespassed from the store and was provided with information on services within our area. However, she did not wish for any of those. Just wanted to go on living in her sign. I feel like maybe we could solve the tent city homelessness problem in LA and we just start renting out grocery store signs. They can all move. They can all move in there.
Yeah, like
Vons and Ralphs and
the 76 ball.
Oh yeah,
so there's a lot of space in those. You can just have them in there.
Put them in there like the Animaniacs in the Warner Brothers Tower.
And you'd save power because they could slowly walk inside and make it turn.
That could charge the Teslas. They could probably attach a thing where they have a charging station at the bottom of it.
And the any of those statue types, is it Fat Boy or whatever, the Burger Kid guy?
Big Boy. That's right down the street from
you just have a guy standing in there living.
Just trapped inside.
Yeah. Make the eyes move or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Say hi to people as they go by. Yeah, I bet she's a big fan of Ace of Base.
Why is that?
I saw the sign. She's always singing that. We all know that reference. Anyway. She told everybody she's going to move out of the sign, so thank God. She found a new place to live. She's going to take a residence in RFK Jr.'s brain.
Like the old brain.
She may die. So we have something serious to talk to you about. This is our YouTube channel. You know how YouTube channels work?
Yeah.
We need subscribers. We need likes.
That button right down there.
You slap that button, they say. Hit the old like
bell.
Old
subscribe.
Yeah. Comments. We will answer if you give us comments that are questions worthy of answering, we'll answer them on the show.
Yeah,
for sure. Check out our subscription on our website, but also just YouTube centered right now. We need a certain amount of subscribers and things where we can monetize. So we're a brand new show. So everybody's commenting, liking, sharing, all that kind of stuff. You're helping us out a ton. So please continue to do that, and especially since I deleted a video.
And he deleted one. And we're very grateful to everyone who's tuned in so far. The first few episodes, I think the first 2 episodes hit 1,000 views, but there's still only about 500 subscribers, which means some of you are viewing and not subscribing.
You're hypocrites.
And that's a problem.
Right.
We need to do both.
Exactly. On to international news. King Charles III's first portrait as king draws mixed reactions online. So we can see the picture of him, the first official painted portrait of King Charles III.
It looks like a blood
coronation. Yeah, has been unveiled at Buckingham Palace. So yeah, it just looks like Han Solo frozen in raspberry flavored carbonite.
Yeah,
like sherbet. It's like a sherbet. It looks like he's emerging from a rash on Donald Trump's butt.
It looks like a magic eye. Like maybe if you stare at it long enough, a different picture.
Oh right, yeah. He started it becomes 3D.
a better picture of him pops out or something.
Remember those in the mall? They had those pictures where you stare at them long enough, and all of a sudden it becomes this 3D image.
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe it's that.
I think that's what I just said.
Is that what that's called? A magic eye.
Magic eye. There was books of them. A book with.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I called it a magic eye. I think the technical term is that big thing at the mall that you stare at. And that's something.
I never heard the term magic eye a day in my life.
It's so weird. There's a random butterfly just landing on his shoulder,
something,
whispering to him, "This painting is not great."
Is that Princess Di? Or something?
I would be worried about being in the room with that painting at night. It looks like he would step out of it and come alive or something. It says the vast oil on canvas shows a larger-than-life King Charles in the uniform of the Welsh Guards.
Oh.
Looks like they made it out of Welsh's jelly.
You did it? I think that could be happened. The artist just didn't want to admit on the way over that he
spilled something on it.
He left his peanut butter jelly sandwich in the back with the painting, and it just got all over the place. Crikey, he said when he noticed. Because he's British. My boy PBJ.
Right. Bloody hell. Well, speaking of seeing red, the Kyoto government worker assaults coworker for spoiling popular manga series at the office. Kind of similar. We had the juvenile story last week about
Yakuza.
A Yakuza
tenant
person stealing Pokemon cards.
Right.
This week, the The just from its name, you'd expect the Kyoto District Legal Affairs Bureau Yuji branch to be somewhere in which all employees have a strong respect for law and order, and yet a manager at the Yuji branch found one of his subordinates' conduct so inexcusable, so utterly reprehensible that he felt compelled to resort to violence. So the manager, a man in his 50s, grabbed his 20-something subordinate by his chest and kicked him around the waist, whatever that means.
Around the waist. You only can do that in anime, I think. You have to be Japanese to kick someone around the waist.
But the thing that he was mad about was his subordinate spoiled the latest chapters of a manga series called Oshi no Ko.
Oshi no Ko.
One of the most popular currently ongoing manga series. Is it manga?
It's pronounced manger.
Manga? Manger.
It's pronounced manga, I believe.
He was mangry that
Mangry.
He was mangry.
You really want to get some manga?
He got mangry that the manga was ruined.
He's a 50-year-old man. This fascinates me. The 50-year-old man would assault somebody over this. It's I guess maybe if you look, it's maybe like he's really hardcore. This is like a really hardcore manga. Let's take a look at the art. It's actually, have you seen it? It's
I haven't looked at it.
It's incredibly adorable. It looks like something a 5-year-old girl would read.
Oh, okay. They have like those cutesy little faces and stuff.
Yeah, like sparkly eyes and really cute. I don't know why everyone in manga looks so feminine. More like womanga, womanga.
You did it, almost. I'm angry that you tried to do
you manga with my womanga joke. I wouldn't call it a joke. It was just a comment.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be funny. I always want to punch people. In fact, we have Matt here. He's really famous for this. Who they don't spoil a movie, but they spoil it because what they do is they come out of it. And they have this glow, and they're like, "Yeah, what's the greatest movie I've ever seen? It's gonna change your life. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch it a million times." And like, it can never live up to the hype.
That's what he said after Kangaroo Jack.
Oh yeah, yeah. For me, it was Marmaduke, starring Owen Wilson.
I don't know how you spoil a manga comic book. I thought they all ended the same way, with your mom telling you to move out of the basement and get a girlfriend. I'm always surprised that adults are into that stuff so much. I mean, maybe it's good. I don't know. I've never read it. People all comment below about how good some of them are.
Well, there's a good way to not get spoiled on manga is just not be a dumb nerd who reads comics.
Exactly.
Except for my comics.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I feel like our audience might be manga readers.
Manga or manga?
Manga. I don't know. I've never said that word.
Are you saying they might be getting mangry right now?
They might be mangry at us for making fun of manga.
Well, let's move on to other Asian news.
We should have a gong we hit, would we?
Deep fakes of your dead loved ones are booming. It's a booming Chinese business is what it's trying to say. Now, there are plenty of people who want to use AI to preserve, animate, and interact with lost loved ones as they mourn and try to heal. Are there? Gross, weird.
Maybe in
the
China.
market is particularly strong in China, where at least half a dozen companies are now offering such technologies. And I mean, half a dozen in China. China's like 1 billion something people, right? So,
but it's a half dozen whole companies.
Yeah, that's true. Are they little or like?
Yeah.
You know. Thousands of people have already paid for them. In fact, the avatars are the newest manifestation of a cultural tradition. Chinese people have always taken solace from confiding in the dead. I heard this. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's Chinese. They burn fake money for the dead. I don't understand why.
Oh, really?
But they take it very seriously. I was at the Chinese market with him, and he's showing me. They have these saying that the police are like, "Why are you burning all this stuff?" And I don't get it. If you're Chinese, you can explain that.
He was burning it at the Chinese market.
No, but they'll do it like on the street corners and stuff or something. He's just talking about how immigrant Chinese people, they don't really understand how kind of shocking it is to see somebody just burning stuff randomly out in the streets. But yeah, anyway, that's a random thing.
I think it's weird that it feels creepy and just like illegitimate to be talking to a dead AI version of
like your mom
or your, I don't know, a dead relative. That's strange.
Yeah, because my dad passed about a little over a year ago. I cannot imagine taking comfort in seeing like a weird
AI like that pastor
Polar Express version of my dad looking at me like, "All right, son."
And you know it's fake.
I know.
It's not like you think you're really.
Maybe it would convince me. Maybe I'd look into his eyes and be taken back.
This guy says once a week, Sun Kai has a video call with his dead mother. His mother will occasionally make a comment like telling him to take care of himself. He's her only child, but mostly she just listens.
So what's he saying?
He says, my mom didn't seem very natural, but I still heard the words that she often said. Have you eaten yet? Sun recalls of the first interaction. Because generative AI was a nascent technology at the time, the replica of his mom can only say a few pre-written lines. But Sun says that's what she was like anyway.
She only had a few pre-written lines.
He really wanted to talk to his dead mother, who never really said much anyway.
I miss those long conversations where she constantly said, have you eaten yet?
Yeah.
Which I believe is an actual like greeting in China where people just say it to each other, have you eaten yet? And that's, you're not supposed to answer or whatever. Like, it's just like, how you doing? I believe.
It says they cost $2,000 to $3,000. Imagine paying $3,000 to get an AI clone of your dead mother, and then all she does is ruin your manga.
Right. She just get get a ventriloquist guy to like put her face on a all something. I don't know.
I wonder, maybe that's why China created the coronavirus, to kill everyone and make more of a market for their dead relatives, to create
AI
deliberately create more dead relatives so that they could sell. That's weird, though, to talk to an AI version. Why don't they just pray to a candle with a dead person on it like a Catholic?
Yeah, where's Patrick?
It's not here this week.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking over the other things we have right here.
They could have painted a Chow Chow to look like the dead mother.
That's true. Okay, that's that joke. I feel like. Okay.
Are you good with all those? Should I go on to the next one?
Move on.
All right, let's go across the pond to France. I'm not good with geography. France reclaims title for longest baguette from Italy, making a baguette 143 meters long.
Now, if you really respected the French, you would pronounce baguette. Baguette.
I don't respect them enough to do that, but I do respect myself enough not to do that. French bakers have reclaimed the record of producing the world's longest baguette on May 5th after losing the title to Italy 5 years ago. And I love the picture there. That's a very professional, studious-looking baguette certifier. Yeah, she has an entire clipboard full of paperwork she has to fill out.
I don't know if you have that picture, Matt. I have
to judge this this baguette that she's looking at to make sure it's
official.
It says the French chefs managed to make a baguette that spanned 140.53 meters or 461 feet, which was around 235 times the length of a normal baguette. They took this title back from Italy. I guess we found the one fight the French won't surrender. But it says the traditional French baguette is about 2 feet long, which already seems too long for bread.
Right, they already exceeded it.
Yeah. It's made from wheat flour, water, salt, and yeast, and weighs 250 grams or half a pound. That's the standard one. The previous longest baguette of 132.62 meters was baked in the Italian city of Como in June 2019. They said everything has been validated. We are all very happy to have beaten this record and that it was done in France. Anthony Arigault, one of the bakers, said after the baguette was approved by the Guinness World Records judge. That must be who that is there.
Real moment of pride for the country. The country. You beat Italy.
Have you been to France before?
Never.
I was to France, and I thought this was just a stereotype in cartoons that they pedal around on bikes with striped shirt and a little baguette. Mm-hmm. They do that every morning. There's thousands of them. Huh. It's all over the streets. They wear that same shirt, and they get on a bike, and they just pedal their piece of bread around for a while.
Where do they take this?
I don't know. And then
they were all linking together to make this be this world record.
They're just everywhere. And then around by noon, they're all gone. They're smoking their cigarettes and cursing Americans or whatever they do with the rest of their time.
I wonder if you could do that, if you could just cheat and like weld together a bunch of baguettes to make a big long baguette and not have to do all the work.
Do you see how closely this lady's studying it? You would never get that by her.
Yeah, probably not. There's no segments.
Page 13 of her packet says it's not just a bunch of little bagels welded together, is it?
Bagels?
Baguettes.
They look, it's like the human centipede of baguettes.
Oh, this
Well, I
is
love
nice.
that-
It says the rest was given to homeless people.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. I just love
That's
this
nice.
visual of like a baguette you can see from space, like the Great Wall of China.
Mhm.
And there's just all these homeless people scattered all around it like ants, just gnawing at it in the streets. Which I'm sure if you're French homeless, you're really excited to get more baguette of all the things you could get. I assume they seem like they go stale pretty fast, those baguettes.
It's a very hard bread.
It's supposed to be
begin
hard. I
with.
don't get the
I think
I don't like hard
It's kind of a crust on it. Yeah.
used for weapons, pole vaulting, a lot of things. All right, well, I guess to further their revenge on Italy for stealing their baguette title, they're going to produce the world's longest strand of linguine.
And then they'll bring out
Mamma mia!
the linguine expert with her
Yeah.
glasses and clipboard to study it.
All right. The Washington governor race has achieved its own sort of world record. 3 Bob Knight, 2 more Bob Fergusons are running for Washington governor. Bob Ferguson could face Bob Ferguson and Bob Ferguson in the August primary. That crazy?
It is, yeah.
That's Bob Ferguson, the state attorney general. Bob Ferguson, a retired state employee in Yakima. I know how to say it because I'm kind of from Washington. And Bob Ferguson, a military veteran in Graham. All 3 are running for the Washington governor.
How did you know how to say Graham? Because you're
Graham.
from there.
Graham, because I've eaten a lot of those
I know
crackers that he made.
I don't think there's any other way you would say that.
Yakima?
No, Graham.
Oh, yeah. Graham.
Yakima, I would have said Yakima probably
Yakima.
if I was reading.
I feel like
that
there's so
for the
many
first time.
cities in Washington people would say wrong.
Like Spokane and Spokane.
I love Spokane.
Yeah.
Tacoma. So yeah, it turns out. So at first you're like, oh my gosh, this is
How did
crazy.
this
How
happen?
these
Yeah.
same guys are like,
Coincidence.
there must be so many Bob Fergusons there. Conservative activist Glenn Morgan, maybe we should call him conservative hero, recruited 2 people who share a name with the Democrat AG to run for governor. They officially filed to run Friday at the close of Washington's candidate filing week. If I had started, I assume he talks kind of like a conservative radio DJ. I'd start a little bit earlier, I would have been able to have 6 Bob Fergusons, Morgan said. I contacted about 12. I just ran out of time. So he just like called every Bob Ferguson he could find, like on Facebook and then the phone book.
And he found at least 2
At least 2 are willing to, like,
yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, like do something potentially illegal.
I'll run for office for your scam.
They must be, wow.
Yeah.
Just have a real following. This wouldn't work with someone like Barack Obama.
You can't find any of those.
Unless you can like fly him in from
Yeah.
a country. So the press secretary for the Attorney General, Bob Ferguson, stated, there's only one Bob Ferguson who's qualified to be governor, one who has a long and distinguished career standing up for Washingtonians. There's no doubt this last-minute filing by 2 unknown candidates is an effort to deliberately confuse Washington voters. It's nothing less than an attack on our democracy. Washington voters are smart and will see through this highly deceiving, potentially illegal affront to mislead them. And then she further said, if you don't vote for Bob Ferguson could win.
Do you think they come up with insult nicknames for each other? Because they're all,
Yeah.
it's like that's Slob Ferguson and that's No Jobs Ferguson.
Right.
Oh, for me, Bob Ferguson.
Doesn't believe in God, Ferguson.
But then it says state statutes say that it is a felony for a person to file a declaration of candidacy with a surname similar to one who has already filed for the same office and whose political reputation is widely known, with intent to confuse and mislead the electors by capitalizing on the public reputation of the candidate who had previously filed. So it sounds like this is already illegal.
Unless they did, maybe they filed really, really sincerely. And
He was like, all right,
otherwise.
I need 2
They
guys
seem pretty
named Bob
sincere.
Ferguson that I found on Facebook. And I need you guys to run against the other Bob Ferguson, but I also need you to be sincere
You
about
need
it.
to mean it.
You need to mean it because it's all going to blow up in our
Yeah,
faces
if you win, you're in it for the long
if
haul.
we're just doing this because I asked you to just now. Have you ever looked up if there's other Ethan Nicoles out there?
Yeah, oh, I never Google myself. What kind of vain narcissist?
I do it all the time.
No, I do too. I have an alert.
I guess Ethan Nicole might be a little. Is that a common name? Are there a lot?
No,
of
it's
Ethan Nicoles?
very Ethan. Well, my Ethan was not a common name when I was born, and then it became super common in the early 2000s. My last name
Probably
Nicole
'cause of
is
your
very
fame.
rare. Spelled the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents are like,
named
the
after
Nicolle guy
you.
is great. In the early 2000s, what did I do? I was in a rock band. Yeah, so I was that. Lunar Active, look them up.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Because see, I looked up if there was other Adam Yensers out there a long time ago, and for a while there weren't any. And then
A long time ago, like every night.
Yeah, no, I mean like when I was in college, like when Facebook first came out.
Right.
That was one of the things I looked up because I would Google sometimes if there was anybody else with my name because Adam's very common. Yenser's not like a very exact name, but I don't meet many Yensers, so I didn't know if there was any others out there. And sometime in like late college, or no, it was after I moved to New York. I was looking on Facebook and there was another Adam Yenser that popped up and it was this kid in Ohio and he was just some like elementary school kid. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then a few years later, I looked up again and it was a picture of him playing baseball in high school. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. And by this time I had been on, this is after I finished Conan and went to Ellen and I was like building my stand-up career. And then I checked on him a few years later and he was going to college and he made his college baseball team. And I was like, you better stop other Adam Yenser. You better not become the more famous Adam Yenser. You can't
race to the top.
I was like, you got to stop. Yeah.
So when's the last time you checked on him?
I checked on him. I don't know how recently, but I don't know what's going on with him.
Maybe we can get the people in the comments.
Last time I saw he was playing baseball in college, I believe.
If you're in the comments and you're good at doxing people, why don't you go ahead and dox the other Adam Yenser for us?
Don't harass the other Adam Yenser. Look at that. Come on.
I'm joking. Algorithm.
People on the internet do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You say that and then they'll be like,
not our group, not our people.
Then we'll get a YouTube strike against us.
This whole thing actually happened on, you watched Fargo?
I don't. I've watched the old movie. I've never watched the show.
The show, I like the show better than the show's so good. And it's barely related to the movie. It's just in style, really.
Oh, okay.
It's really an anthology series. Every season's different actors, different story. But in the latest season, which was great, they do this. There's this sheriff. It's spoiler alert. Sorry if you're going to punch me.
We're not going to
kick me around the waist.
Yes,
for spoiling.
I'll grab you by the
Fargo.
grab you by the chest and kick you around
my
the
chest
waist.
and kick me around the waist. But yeah, they do this in that. So maybe this guy watches Fargo. He got the idea from it.
On to other things that shouldn't be legal.
I didn't mean to spell fangs like that.
I know, but I wanted to say it. I saw it, and I wanted to say it that way.
Fangs?
Fangs. On to other things that shouldn't be legal. I consciously recognized it. I said, I'm going to say it that way.
Thank you. Me. Okay.
So this was a story submitted to us it's our first submitted news story from our subscriber Porcho on the Discord server. He's an Australian.
Yeah.
The headline is Bethel Church charging $6,000 per person for prophetic 2-day conference.
Wow.
Bethel Church in Redding, California continues its money-grubbing ways, putting on the Regis Summit. The Regis Summit conference, where the registration bundle is $6,000 a person. First of all, I like that this story was submitted to us all the way from Australia, and it's complaining about a church near us.
Yeah, that's like
it's just a local
within driving distance.
Yeah. Led by Bethel Chief Prophet. You know a church is legitimate when they have a chief prophet.
Chief Prophet.
Spelled Profit. No, Chief Prophet Chris Valaton. The promo material reveals that this exclusive event has been meticulously designed to connect and activate you with the more of God, and that attendees will discover strategies for personal and corporate spiritual development and tools to redefine personal success, which that's what the Bible's all about, is developing strategies for corporate and spiritual personal success.
So they're going to redefine personal success as being somebody who spends $6,000 to go on a church retreat.
Is that a typo, or is that supposed to be what with the more?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah,
is that a phrase people use?
The more of God,
and activate you with the more of God.
The more of God.
Maybe it's like a prosperity. Maybe it's a prosperity gospel thing about like God giving.
You don't want the less of God. You want the more of God.
Yeah, like those Osteen people.
The more.
Bethel Church has already broken ground on their brand new $96 million campus and apostolic training center. I think in the Bible, when Christ had his apostles, he wanted to build a $96 million training center.
Yeah, he would have killed.
He didn't get around to it.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah. They have a lab where they apply scientific methods to the prophetic, and where you or your business can get a custom prophetic report for only $2,750. They offer courses on interpreting dreams for $150. And they offer acting classes for $26,000 and a dance certificate for $14,000.
Like, who spends $26,700 for an acting class from somebody?
They must have an
church?
Improv troupe, too.
But, like, you want it to be somebody who's done it. You want it like Gene Cousineau, at least, like from Barry. Like, he has a history.
Yeah.
The guy they got there, who they have.
And nobody's coming out of that acting class. You never hear like,
oh yeah,
Mahershala Ali studied at the Bethel Regis Summit acting class in Redding, California.
Oh, I remember that's a really expensive one. And how does scientific prophecy work? That sounds sort of like the closest thing I think of is like climate change science.
Yeah,
they just they just tell you what's going to happen.
This seems like a place with all their prophecy and money scams. This seems like they would like to get that AI technology that lets you talk to your dead relatives. I feel like they would go all in on that.
It's also another scenario that would be improved if you just swapped all the strange men out with bears.
Yeah.
Be it more entertaining, less money wasted, I guess. Yeah, it fascinates me. People that spend much money on something like this, like they really believe, like.
It's weird.
It feels like a thing that the Bible directly says.
Yeah, that's what always confuses me about it, is the Bible is so very clear. Apart from, Jesus overturning the money changers' tables,
right?
The Bible's very clear that it's not for personal profit and for making you rich and
like using the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah.
It's more like this, this is kind of right on the nail on the head here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Well, it can sometimes seem that people turn to Jesus as their imaginary friend. This movie we reviewed this week is about imaginary friends. If. Have you seen If?
Of course I've seen If. We're reviewing it, so of course I saw it.
Of course we saw it together.
Somehow.
We both sat in a theater full of children and watched it, even though it's not out yet.
Comes out 3 days from now, but we saw it. We wouldn't be reviewing it otherwise. It'd be a waste of everyone's time.
So, like a bunch of kids, my kids are asking if they could come see this because, Dad, I want to go see If. And then I kept saying, If what? And they'd say, If. And I say, If what? And then it just went on until the authorities were called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie is great, and it was either animated or live action or CGI. I don't really know.
It was directed by that Office guy, Jim Krasinski.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
And so it's really like, it's kind of the culmination of his work. Sort of like Quiet Place meets The Office meets Jack Reacher, which is like his big Amazon thing. And it also has Grimace from McDonald's makes his big comeback, which is cool.
It's about time.
Yeah. I heard he got Me Too'd.
Grimace is great in this.
Yeah.
And
Steve, back the big
there's this actor, Steve Carell, in it too. I think his career is really going to take off after this.
It's really big for him. Yeah. Yeah. Especially in animation. So anyway, you should go see If. It's basically Ryan Reynolds jumping around in front of a big green wall for a while. Then they just take a bunch of sports mascot looking things and put them in there and post. And it's cool. Fun for the whole family. Well, thanks everybody who joined us, helped us out in this episode. That's it. We did a third one.
Yes.
Third one in the bag.
Third one in the bag.
We got Matt back there laughing and editing at the same time. And our camera switching. The job he's doing. He set all his whole studio.
He does all the technical stuff that I have no idea how to do. So we're very appreciative of that.
Very appreciative.
Also, Frank Fleming and Trevor Anderson for their contributions.
Yeah, they contributed all these jokes that we delete. And then we have all our friends on my Discord through my Patreon that have helped us out with finding news stories, helping me edit this doc, especially the document we go through here. Daniel states he actually isn't a conspiracy theorist. He wants his name out on the internet.
Okay.
So everybody cheer for Daniel States. And there's also Johnny Tutts, Will Warandi, and Bard who have helped out as well.
Are those real names also?
They're all, that's their, well, I call
those sound like
Jonathan Tuttles the third is his real name.
Johnny Tutts,
so I call him either Johnny Tutts or Johnny Three Tutts.
I see.
Or Johnny Triple Tutts.
And Will Warindi,
that's a screen name.
All one word.
Congratulations to Will Warindi, recently married.
Oh, nice.
To somebody that she met through the B podcast.
Oh, I've heard that story. Yeah. Nice.
And then Bard, which I think his real name is Brad.
Oh, okay. And of course, Austin Robertson, the voice of the Talk Down.
Yes.
And to you, the listeners, who somehow managed to find time to listen to yet another podcast.
Thank you for making the time. And please consider subscribing to the show. You can go to thetalkdown.com. We're going to be doing a subscriber portion.
What kind of stuff can they expect to hear in the subscriber portion, Ethan?
What's all that pee in the ears about? Well, did Adam really play Anthony Weiner's Wiener in Wiener? He mentioned that yet last week, and he never expanded on that.
Well, we always say these things about ourselves in the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes
it works into the later in the episode, but sometimes it just gets left out there.
Yeah. And we'll hear your, obviously, again, pee in the ear story. And I did stand up with Kato Kalin. Which is Green Hornet or something. No, he lived in OJ's guest house.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
When OJ murdered his wife.
Because Bruce Lee was Kato, and he died.
Oh, yeah. So you can hear all those stories if you become a subscriber.
Are you excited for that? And then we answer questions and just have a party. It's such a party. It's way better than this show. We subscribe way more. So we get so prepared. All right, thetalkdown.com. And you can send us your questions and comments for us to reply to at info@thetalkdown.com. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys next week.
The Talk Down is filmed in a dark room in front of a couple of fake plants. For more information or to become a subscriber, go to thetalkdown.com.